I think this is working. That the new Vanguard vets. I'm trying to be done with semi Vanguard project if they don't get lightning claws. That is fair. I started Space Marines like 6 months ago, and originally I was gonna go with Raven Guard. And then I bought like half the stuff for that, like the Centurions and everything. And then Derek was also playing them, and just in like the test games, I didn't really like how they played, like playing against them. Not that they were bad or anything, but uh, then I went back through the whole codex, reviewed everything, and then found that new Iron Hands attachment. So I just stuck with that. So I have I have all this shit. It's in my pile of shame behind me. And then I also heard they're getting rid of Centurion, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Newer's World Leaders guy that did a practice game. Oh, hey, what's up, man? I'm doing well, dude. Yeah, Friday night, I gotta build these dudes. I work this weekend, so I figured figure out this whole like streaming thing, and just like see how it works, but I figured it out. Hammers is fun detachment, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, man. When I first was looking at the Space Marine Codex, I was essentially building lists based off of just everything that I didn't have in Chaos Space Marines, um, and then just started pivoting from there. But after playing a couple test games against Derek's Orcs, I, I figured I needed to change my list. So I'm trying the 20 Terminators. It's not exactly like Ben Neal's list, but I'm going here. I'll tell you when I cooked this up yesterday, and so this is going to be my test game for next week. So of course, Canic Bar and the 10 Terminators, because they're fucking good. A Terminator Captain with Steel Font versus the Ancient. Of course, the Combi Lieutenant with Iron Laurel. um, JPI infiltrators, triple redemptor, scout squad, double assault terminators, and then the Calidus. So like Ben Neal's list, his shooting asset was I think it was double vindicator and double ballistas, but I heard vindicators aren't going to be in the next edition, so I didn't want to just buy them for now. I have 3 for Chaos Space Marines, but yeah, so I decided not to do that. So the previous list I was running, it was pretty good into most lists. It's not good into Horde. I also have to keep a grain of salt, like playing Derek, just because he's just really fucking good. But into every other practice partner I've played against, it's done pretty well. But again, like we won't play round 1 at a GT, but we could play round 2, and I just don't feel like playing the list I was using into Derek's list. So thinking about it like that, I think this will be good enough. And then if I do run into Derek at the GT, then it'd be all right. They might get rid of Vindicators. No, yeah, dude. Yeah, that's what I heard. And also I heard that the new edition's coming out in June, so it's like I'm not trying to just get them for like 2 months. Went 3-0 for the first time. RTT, I like to get a GT2. Oh, dude, awesome, man. That is great, man. Actually, dude, you should come to GeekCon. Let me pull this up. It's the first GT hosted by AU. It is May 22nd to 24. It's like outside of Philly, so you should definitely go to that. But congrats, dude. That's freaking awesome. Been seeing double ballistas, double redemptor, 10 heavy intercessors, and pharaohs. Yeah, dude, I think so when I was first just trying to figure this out, plus like buy the new faction, when I decided on Iron Hands, I was, of course, looking at all the characters, and I was like, dude, Ironfather's pretty sick. And he, even so, in my first couple games in my first GT, I was running just the 5-man Ironfather, and he was like that unit was like surprisingly good. But yeah, I saw a couple guys win some GTs with the 10-man in what was the one in Bastion, that one detachment. I'll check BCP. Hopefully, some spots to the left. Yeah, it should be. It should be good. I actually premiered my first fully planted army on tabletop game. Yeah, dude, that is awesome, man. I so I was playing Derek the other night, and it's interesting because he wasn't when we first met, he like hated painting. And then when he went to orcs, I was just explaining like I was like, dude, why don't you just use contrast paint? And dude, he went like ham with it, and like his army looks freaking awesome. And that's another like cool thing about not just the hobby, but like playing with like friends, and then like friends not only getting better at the game but better at like the hobby aspect of it. And he's like, yeah, dude, like I love painting. And he's like showing these guys, he's like, dude, I did the eyes, and I he figured out how to do the like um the light effect like on the floodlight on the vehicles using yellow. So pretty awesome. So I when I first got into like 40K in general, I started with Kill Team, and I found a mini axe. You can find him on YouTube. He's freaking hilarious, incredible painter. And I'm just like researching how to like build and paint models. And so that's why I came across his channel, and I kind of just like adopted his process, and I haven't really deviated since. Um, so tonight the goal is build 5 guys. So I'll typically just cut everything out, and then I'll sand everything down, fit everything, then glue everything together. My kids always make fun of me. They say it takes forever to build, but honestly, the build process is just as therapeutic for me. And then, like, if you want to kit bash, you can do that. But I just need to crank these guys out, so I'm like not putting any of the sexy shit on them. Um, I'm just making them like as fast as possible, but then like within like my standards. And then I'll paint them like just pure tabletop ready, because I'm not gonna have a lot of time. I think the GT's in like 2 weeks, and I work a lot the next couple weeks, so it just kind of is what it is. Can't decide between keeping or selling my unassembled Chaos Knights or Orcs. Honestly, man, I mean, if you follow the channel, I would stick with Orcs and just run what Derek's running. I don't like hordes, so if I did, I would be running hordes. But I get the Chaos Knights. I actually have Chaos Knights. I only built like 4 of them. They're over my glass shelf over there. I used the despoiler for Shadow Legion, but I get it. I don't know. So our local store, they only buy back like built models. So I don't have the time to build them just to sell them. I sold half of my like original Chaos Space Marine army to fund my Space Marine army. I still have the rest, but it's like I changed my paint scheme halfway through, so then I just bought everything again. So I had extras. Love building kit bashing. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, I was talking to a guy the other day at the store, and he asked me why I went Space Marines, and I was just explaining like because the faction is so, or the you can change play styles because the collection is just so big. So I mainly just wanted the collection, and I was using like Drakari as an example because I would eventually like to play Drakari, mainly to like really learn like the movement aspect of it and all that. But I feel like Drakari kind of just has essentially one play style, so that's what I decided on. Plus, like, dude, this edition, I mean, Space Marines were just getting something new like every other week, whereas like the last 5 years playing Chaos Space Marines, like, I mean, I guess like other than the original detachments, like the next coolest thing was Bile, and I didn't really like Bile. And then I went to Shadow Legion for a little bit, and then I just went back to Packbound Zealots, and that's what I took to LVO last year and did pretty well with them. But in blast spamming dark lances with Calibite Cartel. Yeah, I mean, dude, rock on, man. Like, it's always funny when you show up to the table and you're running kind of. I mean, you're all playing competitive players. So, but what's interesting is like you'll show up with something busted, and you're like talking about your army, and then they go and talk about their army, and you're like, dude, it's busted in a different way. I just always think that's funny. I definitely think, other than like agents, every faction has the capability to be busted, and that's also like it's also relative to like what you're playing, right? Like you like the night players, who like typically it's like, can you deal with heavy armor? And if you can't, yeah, cool. Like you're just technically you're busted against that opponent, and then you run across a guy who has Abaddon, a Hellbrute, and double Vindicators, and you're just like one-shotting these knights off the table. I just signed up for the Geekdom GT. Oh, awesome, dude. Hell yeah, man. I've been thinking about buying some Gene Stealer Cult. Oh man. Dude, I was talking about that the other day. Like, I so again, I like all aspects of the hobby. I like the lore. Of course, I love like the tournament, perspective, and then the modeling and hobbying. But like, I just can't stand Gene Stealer cult. Like I will like read or listen to the books like as I build, just to like get into it. So like reading the bio books as I was like building bio, and I was playing bio at the time, so I was like building all that out. But I just can't get into Gene Stealer Cole. But like, dude, they are just so good. And luckily, there's a couple guys locally who have the army, so um, you definitely need to get practice into stuff like that. Even in the next edition, I think like they're like secretly just fucking wildly good. And if you don't know how to deal with them, I mean, your mind is just going to be fucking blown, and you don't want your mind blown at a GT. When I was in competitive shooting, one of my mentors, he told me, he's like, you should fear no shot. So like, it doesn't matter if it's, like a 6-inch plate at 50 yards, like you should be practicing that. And I feel the same way about GTs. Like, you need to have exposure to every faction, because there's a lot of guys that I'll talk to or coach or whatever, and they're like, they'll go to a GT and they're like, oh my gosh, like did you see like Gene Stealer Cold or Thousand Sons, like I've never played it before. And I'm like, dude, you like ask around the discords, like there are plenty of people who have those armies that'd be more than willing to put together like what is the busted list right now, and then just give you like the exposure. Or they have the same unit I do, the one that I think is busted. Dude, mirror matches are always, I enjoy mirror matches, honestly. It's because then it purely comes down to like skill expression and how you like in your mind how you run the army versus just pure stat line stat checking. Yeah, so again, like this is like a test as well. So like you let me know like how the video looks, how the audio is. Since I like came on to work with Derek on the channel, it's been like a huge fucking learning curve. Like with all the fucking cameras, like if you saw like a third person perspective of what my like hobby table looks like now, I'm in like a fucking spaceship. I definitely need to I need to get like a better mounting system for all my lights, and I just got this microphone mount which is pretty sweet. So let me know how all that stuff is. The camera's this like Sony Z10, and I've been like messing with the settings, and then like I said, like Friday night I have to work the weekend, so I'm not doing anything tonight. And I was like, dude, I need to build these freaking Terminators because I want to test the 20 Terminator lists like all next week. If I like I'm pretty comfortable with my other list, so I don't need to practice it as much. Like my deployments are good. I've been practicing layout 8, but the 20 Terminator list is different. Like it's I don't think it's just in my head, but there is a big difference between going from like 12 units to 9, especially with Space Marines. So I think the thumbnail might need to be changed. What does the thumbnail look like? I don't even know. You're gonna have to tell me. I can't even see. Maybe I should look at my phone. Oh goodness, it's still. That shit is funny. Let me see if I can change this on here. Audio and video, great. Thanks, Eric. Oh goodness. this. It's still. How do I change that? Derek's gonna yell at me. I thought I changed the. Oh wait, I'm a bit behind. Awkward. Nope. Nope. Thank you, Eric. You're awesome. Let me see. Create highlight. Nope, not that. Add video marker. This is what Derek gets for sending me into the wild. Dude, I don't think I can stream settings. All right. Where is... I'm such a noob with the whole streaming thing. Analytics, viewer, stream health, shopping. Nope, none of that. Title, edit. Yeah, dude, I don't fucking know. Which is funny because people think a game is going on right now. Oh, here it is. Thumbnail, change. Is that Derek? Yeah, it is. What's he gonna say? LOL, did you change the thumbnail? Nope. Let's see. Let's build a thumbnail real quick. You know what? I don't have time for this. I'm just gonna have ChatGPT make me one, and then I could just upload it. So we'll do something like this. I'm just gonna take a picture of that. Yeah, sorry about that. If you came on to watch a game, you just got my dumbass, and I am building my assault terminators. Let's fix this. So anyway, what are you guys doing on Friday night? Because I am just nerding out doing this. I tell you what, if you don't use AI, I think you should get into it. It's all good. Hobbying is part of the hobby. Yeah, I get that, Eric. uh, yeah, if you don't use AI, I think you should check it out. I use that shit for everything. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I freaking hate mold lines though. You know, pro tip, I was watching the Siege Studios podcast. You wouldn't think it'd be interesting, but if you're into painting and hobbying, I think the Siege Studios podcast is really good. But anyway, one of the guys, when he sands, he'll actually wet either the sanding brush like I'm using. I'll just like spit on it a little bit. Or I think he keeps like some water next to him. All right, here we go. Let's fix this. Let's send this to Dropbox. Files. Oh, come on. All right. me see this. Trying to cook up some gold recipe to escape the chaos trim. Dude, I tell you what, I really liked by the time I was on Chaos Space Marines for 5 years. By the time switched, I loved my gold recipe. So what I do is I would prime Chaos Black and then dry brush Iron Warriors Silver, and then I'd wash it down with like null oil or something, and then dry brush it again with like the hottest silver I can find. And my favorite silver is actually the Ruffang, this one right here, Ruffang Steel. And then I'd mainly focus on the trim. And then if you use the contrast paint Snakebite Leather, yeah, it's that one, Snakebite Leather. So use that contrast, and then when you dry, I found this bright gold by Pro Acryl, and I dry brush that on top of the gold, and it comes out freaking awesome. So I actually didn't mind uh all the trim towards the end of my Space Marine journey. What kind of jobs do you have, Derek? What kind of jobs do you and Derek have? Derek works Derek works in sales and I'm in law enforcement. Hey guys, enjoying the hobby chat, building new Iron Warriors box. Yeah, dude. My first Chaos Army. Dude, that was mine too. I'm not a Chaos fan, but I'm excited to build and paint these. Hazard stripes are fun. Any advice? Yes. Um, so first of all, you got to read the Perturabo books for sure. Those books are incredible. Um, but yeah, so interestingly, the way I just explained how I painted my Black Legion was the same way I painted Iron Warriors, except instead of you I actually like the contrast Black Legion, dude. That shit when you varnish it afterwards, I think just the way the matte varnish looks on contrast Black Legion, it just looks freaking sexy as hell. But for Iron Warriors, I just wouldn't paint it black. I'll just keep it silver. In terms of hazard stripes, dude, I've tried like, why can't I change this? Oh, change. There we go. So I tried putting the tape on. I'll do that for like vehicles, but on the dudes, there's a couple different ways. You can take a pencil and literally draw out the lines, and it's easier to draw. It's easier to go like up down, like to do straight lines, versus like in my opinion, even from like left to right or right to left, whatever. So I usually go like up down, and then you'll mark the middle of like the shoulder pad, and then I will actually do about, no, that's too thick. I'll actually make the lines about like a Monument Pro Sable, like a number 3. I will make them about this width, and I'll just draw the lines with the pencil, and then you're always going, so like if I have here's a guy, see if you can see this, and I just go from top to bottom, I get the lines across, and then actually, sorry, it's been a while since I painted hazard stripes, so I will actually paint them white first. You can use I actually really like this, the pro acrylic white. So I'll paint the whole surface white, and then I'll use black to draw the lines. And again, use the pencil, like I said, and then just use a yellow contrast. I like this one a lot. Just the Ylander, Iliand, whatever it is. This guy, and then you can just paint over the black, and then yeah, that looks good enough. If you want to make it like sexier, uh you can add some like white to the lines, and then you just like clean everything up, and that usually works out pretty well. Thanks for the contrasting. Yeah, I was going to paint my GSC like the Harkonnen guys from the Dune movies. That would be pretty cool. Also, like fast to paint. So that's like something I coming to, and I'm making right now. I'm making a whole Space Marine like intro to Space Marine video series, just kind of documenting my journey and everything. Painting or picking a paint scheme was definitely something that I spent some time on. Because and mainly coming up with the recipe. So this was the first time I like had test models. I took some time to pick my faction, like what colors I wanted, and I to be honest, I mainly picked. So this is like a tabletop ready incursor, and I picked Iron Ravens. One because they look cool, but like it's a really fast like get them to tabletop ready. It's just, silver and then the blues. And I use two different blues, and I'll dry brush the blue and then just red on the guns and then do the base. And then boom, I'm done. And then over time, I'll paint the I'll get them like parade ready. But right now, I'm using Vallejo, basically the Azul Ultramar, and then I'll dry brush the Azul Magico. Jace, my son, he's 15 now, but he found this blue and he painted his Space Marines all that color, and I just thought it looked sick. So yeah, I definitely choose my paint schemes off of like how fast can I get it done. Because once you get like really heavy into like tournament play, I mean, and if you're starting a faction, then dude, you're just like buying or printing models like crazy, and then just doing whatever you can to get them like tabletop ready and then get them onto the table. But the best advice I heard was going from ninth edition to 10th edition. And I was watching this video, and the guy was like, if you only have one faction, then just keep building out that faction. So at the end of the ninth, I just started buying basically everything Chaos Space Marines and just finished the collection, whether it was like meta or not. And then just so I had everything for 10th. So it was really nice as all the detachments were coming out. I could just go to my boxes and just pull them out and play. The only Chaos Space Marine stuff I don't have is all the new super dope stuff that came out. So I haven't gotten Huron or any of that. Every time some new Chaos Space Marine shit comes out, Derek's like, "Oh, you're gonna go back to it?" I was like, "No, man, I'm just sticking with Space Marines for right now." So that's the goal for the next couple years. Although, like looking at the release box and everything, I'm thinking about just getting a ton of JPI and starting to build out like Blood Angels, because I think they're probably going to be one of the first like armies. I heard they're supposed to keep like all the data sheets and everything, but if they're in the release box, I'm sure they're going to get some fucking love. I suppose supporting. Wait, awesome, thanks. I love the white too. Yeah, I'm a Sisters player. It's funny these models look like a joy to paint in comparison to all the detailed Sisters. Yeah, dude, the so I haven't finished just this guy, but the Victrix Honor Guard, holy fuck, dude. It was like basically painting six characters. I refuse to paint the banner for now, but these guys were a pain in the ass to paint. There's so many details. I stopped supporting GW at the moment. They support the yeah. I don't. It's. I had a conversation with a guy with this the other day, and what I don't understand is coming into 40K about 5 years ago. Like I immediately noticed that like there is already like a faction for everyone. So I didn't understand like why they needed to be like, oh, custodies were like women the whole time. And it's like, all right, guys, like it you can say how much lore you want to change or whatever, but it just literally doesn't make any sense. So that was a little disappointing. And it's like, dude, they already have badass chicks. Like I don't get it. Like Sisters of Battle is like an entire army of like Sigoni weavers. What armies give your Space Marines list the most difficulty? Well, right now it's freaking Horde armies. Tau Kroot Horde is a pain in the ass. Obviously Derek's Orcs. Basically every version of them is difficult to play. But again, it's also like you definitely have to keep in mind like who is the pilot playing, right? So the last RTT I went to one. My loss was against Brian, and Brian is, I mean, he's one of the top 50. I'd say he's probably top 30. Whatever. He's very, very good on the East Coast. So it's like I know like player skill to player skill, like I'm not gonna beat Brian, but you have to keep that in mind. But then it's like, well, how are they winning the game? And it's like they win the game by flooding, flooding the objectives and just like out OCing you. So I'm making a battle report right now where so I have a redeploy and then I have 3 infiltrate units. The infiltrate units that I'd be willing to risk in a horde matchup is going to be the scouts, which I typically don't put them on the front line. I typically deploy them in the back, and then they go up and down every turn for secondaries or like screening. But I think the only way I can at least have like a chance into Derek's orcs right now is I straight up deploy the scouts and the infiltrators 9 inches from his zone. I just and mainly block out mccauley and the Gretchen, like whatever it's called, the unit with the scout 9. And like, dude, that unit is just such a pain in the ass. And again, it's still the current edition. I think we have like 2 GTs left, so you're still gonna see it. I don't know how more orc players don't play that, but again, I mean, I love how like Derek will find just like the craziest stuff within the codexes. So he's always got weird boys and stuff's going up and down, and he always likes to play like super flexible armies. And so yeah, I think, and then I take the risk of the 50-50 roll off. And then I would, if you're playing Hammer of Averni, you can also put Scout on one unit, and I typically put that on the Terminators, but I'd probably put that on the Infiltrators. And then if I win the roll off, I'm just scouting up 6 even closer just to pin him in. I really think that's like the only way I can even have a chance. Jace, yeah, Jace is my son. Must be a blue player. Yes. The new Krevik Moore model is really nice. Detail, I have to give props. The improvements are quite. Oh yeah, yes. Well, okay. There's definitely a caveat with that. Like, I think I do like the customization of models, but like, dude, sometimes it just gets a little like too crazy. And like you can see in certain designs, like they put more like into the mold versus having like a ton of options for different things. So like I'm 50-50 about it. But like, dude, some of the new models, there's just so many fucking pieces, and it just like slows the hobby process down. We have badass women in 40K. Nobody asks for trans looking custodies. I mean, fair. Yes. What state are you guys from? We're in the Philly, New Jersey area. Good night. Wish you could stream for the Emperor and Caldor Drago. Yes. Hell yeah, dude. Good night, man. You know what is interesting about that? Like, I don't know what it was. Well, I do, but so when I got into the game, which my kids got me into it. Of course, they wanted to play Space Marines, and me not knowing anything about the lore in my head, I'm like, oh, the Space Marines are probably like the protagonists, and so I'll play the antagonists because I'm like dad. And so that's why I picked Chaos Space Marines. And then I'm looking at, the different Chaos Space Marine armies, and I just thought the Iron Warriors aesthetic looked cool. So that's why I went with them. And then, like I said, I got the books, and dude, I mean, fell in love with the lore. And it's like, I say this half jokingly, but it's like, if you had like issues with your dad or whatever, like Iron Warriors and Perturabo specifically like is like super relatable in terms of like, you do everything you're asked to do, you do everything you're told to do, and you're just like not appreciated like for shit. Which is just interesting. So uh yeah, so I really liked Iron Warriors, like their lore, everything about them. And then dude, the Black Legion books came out, and dude, if you, in my opinion, and this is the route I tell guys to go in the books, I'll tell them to read the first five or six Horus Heresy books, get up to, I think it's First Heretic. Because dang, what was that dude's name? Uh um he was like the first possessed guy. I totally forget his name, but dude, such an awesome character. Anyway, from there, I think you can skip straight to the Black Legion books because there's enough context of like who's Abaddon and uh, you know, that stuff. But like, dude, I thought Abaddon is just a fucking boss. Like, if and especially like if you're a military guy, like his story is like super relatable in terms of like, you know, at the end of the heresy and the siege of terror, and during the great scouring, the chaos space marines for the most part like escaped to the eye of terror. And then everyone was pissed at the Black Legion, so they were like hunting them down. And it was like mainly the emperor's children, I think. And it was called the Legion Wars. And then, but like this whole time, Abaddon, from my perspective, just had like massive PTSD. He was let down. Like, we're doing all these things. And then, Horus ultimately failed. And then he was just like walking the earth or walking the warp. I don't know if you guys ever saw Pulp Fiction, but like when Samuel L. Jackson's like, "What do you mean walk the earth?" Or John Travolta's talking to Samuel L. Jackson. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna walk the earth." He's like, "What do you mean walk the earth? You're just gonna be a bum?" So, yeah, the Formation of the Black Legion books are just, dude, they're fucking good. And the the coolest part is, and I don't think I'm taking anything away, but like, it talks about the first Black Crusade and when Abaddon gets the Black Legion together, and like that's the thing too. He's like, dude, I just want to get the band back together. I just want to, I'm built to fight wars. I just want to go fight wars. And so he like rebuilds a Black Legion. They go through all this like drama to escape the Eye of Terror. They gotta like pay these like penance or whatever, these like to get past these gatekeepers. The Death Guard's like hot on their trails. And then dude, they get out to real space, and Sigismund and the Black Templars were waiting for them for 1,000 years. And so like Abaddon and his crew like teleport to the Black Templar like flagship, fight their way to the main chamber where Sigismund is there, and Abaddon's like, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, like you're wearing black armor, so that means your dad was really mad at you. I'm wearing black armor, like Horus is kind of a douche. Like we're cool, right? And Sigismund's like, fuck no. And they fight. He almost kills Abaddon. But the most interesting part is, so time doesn't work the same in the warp as it does in real space. So in real space, it'd been 1,000 years, and by the time the first Black Crusade happens, and so by this time now the Emperor is considered like a god, and all the like new Space Marines are like, for the Emperor, and treating him like a god, and all the Chaos Space Marines are like, dude, what is the matter with you guys? Like, he's not a god. Like, he's just the Emperor. Like, we met him, whatever, a couple decades ago. It's, what book does Abaddon fight Sigismund? It's the first Black Legion book. It's, is it the Talon of Horus? I forget. If you Amazon like Black Legion books, you'll see like the first one and the second one. But yeah, it's at the end of the first one. Fucking incredible. But anyway, so yeah, I tell people read the first whatever 6 books of the Horus Heresy, get to First Heretic, then read the Black Legion books, and then I think you can just skip to the Siege of Terror. And the coolest part about that is because now Abaddon's like essentially full story, and then during the siege, like all the Chaos Space Marines or like the legions, like the traitor legions, some of them are going nuts. Like the Emperor's children are just losing their shit. The World Eaters are fucking insane. Perturabo's losing his mind because like nobody's like doing their jobs, like on Terra. And then Abaddon's kind of just like everything's kind of weird, but I guess we're just doing this. Like we're here, so we're gonna do the things. And so it's really good. It's cool knowing like what Abaddon turns into, in my opinion. So. But yeah, one of the models, so Abaddon has like I'm having total brain fart, but basically like his entourage. So the Black Legion books are actually narrated by Kaon, who was a Thousand Sons sorcerer who ends up, working for Abaddon. And Abaddon has like his crew of like advisors, and I think Falkus Kyber is like one of the coolest dudes. So he was in the Justarin, which if you don't know who the Justarin are, they were essentially like the first company, like Terminators, that Abaddon was in charge of. And their main like battle tactic was called like the spear tip. And so basically, um, and you'll understand this when you read the first five Horus Heresy books, because it's all about Garviel Loken, who he was a a commander who gets invited to the Mournival, and the Mournival was like this. It was like the cool kids club within uh, the Sons of Horus, which was kind of like against the rules. Like you weren't supposed to have like these little like groups or whatever. And then I mean I could go down rabbit holes about like how that started, but basically this dude named Erebus, who was a word bearer, they were all butthurt about what happened when like what happened. I think the Ultramarines like and the emperor like helped punish the word bearers. They like blew up their home city, and then like the emperor made them all psychically kneel, so they were all super booty busted about that. And then Erebus was essentially, I think he was like basically bought into the chaos gods, and he was like an agent for them. And then he was like going around to the different space marine legions, like creating like kind of like testing the waters to see who would like kind of bend the rules. And it was like it was like a couple, I think it was like a couple, it was at least a couple decades for the word bearers. And you'll read about that in First Heretic, about the word bearers, which that book's funny too, because I listen to all the books on Audible, and just the word bearers are such dorks. Like when they're fighting in war, whenever they would like Roger up to a command, they'd be like, "By your word." It's just funny. Have you read the Horus Heresy, The End of the Death? Oh yeah, dude. Of course, it was fucking incredible. Nice Jersey Shore play here. So you don't worry much about subassembly for painting. I struggle with not subassembly and painting ease versus. Okay, so I will only. I have a rule. Like for example, I got So here's freaking um Gulliman. I did subassembly him, so like so he's subassembly. So I'll do that for like special characters. I'll rarely do it for just like regular guys. So even all the freaking I don't know if you can see, even for all the Vicatrix Honor Guard, I didn't subassembly any of this. I just fucking So the way I view painting and situations like that, you have to look at models like almost like 3D. So it's like I'll start painting in the deepest, hardest part, and then you just paint outwards. And it usually buffs out. But yeah, dude, if you're in Jersey Shore, yeah, fucking come hit us up. I've read Horus Rising, Fulgur Thousand Suns, and The End of the Death. Yeah, dude, if how could you not keep going with the like the second, third, and fourth books with Gabriel Loken? He's such a dope character. I own First Heretic, probably read it over the summer. Yeah, it's good. What's up, Nate? Dude, did you get your Big Melta Energy shirt yet? I still gotta get one. Um, yeah, I try to avoid subassembly, so it's just mainly like special characters. But even then, like I think again, I mean, if you're hardcore competitor, but still want to make the dudes look good. Like, I don't think the only thing I'll subassembly will be like capes. Capes is just a pain in the ass. But for the rest of them, again, if you just kind of, like I was saying, like have like a 3D look at guys, and then just paint like the deepest parts and then just work your way outboard, like it just kind of buffs out. Also, like, definitely, like, I don't know if you watch any Duncan Rhodes. He used to be a guy who painted for GW. He's the guy who's always like, thin your paints. Which that is definitely like a learning curve. So like thinning your paints and then using a wet palette, definitely will keep your paints thin. Like, I'd rather my paint be a little too thin than too thick, just so it's not like super like globby. Just read, listen to Horus Rising. Yeah, dude, Horus Rising is fucking good. I've read that a couple times. When I was like thinking about what I wanted to use for the cover for the book that Derek and I worked on, I I was looking for, because like I wanted like the biggest part of the picture to be like the tabletop, obviously. So I had a pretty epic picture playing LSO 2 years ago, and it was a mirror match. Chaos Space Marines. I was playing Black Legion, of course, and then this guy, I've actually seen him. I saw him at LVO last year, but he was playing Iron Warriors, like color scheme. And I have this like dope picture. So the book cover is, it's like Terminators on Terminators fighting, so it looks pretty fucking awesome. This guy should be paying us to entertain him while he grinds at. Dude, I'm just testing this out. I'd be doing this anyway, so I figured, what a good time Friday night. You're only a giant nerd if we're all, if you're here right now, including myself. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna test this whole stream thing. Derek's like out at dinner with his like beautiful wife, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to like get the stream code key to get on here, but we figured it all out. Nurgle loves globby paint. Yeah, I mean, I get it too. Like, if um it all depends on kind of the look you're looking for. I wouldn't say I paint grim dark. I like uh I don't know, I definitely like smoother. I try to get to envy metal, and probably that's just because I started with Kill Team and then I watched Miniacs, and I just attempted to mimic his painting style. And then I've just like tried to streamline that. So I actually use like a lot of contrast paints, and then I'll varnish them and then do like the highlights and everything with just regular paints and stuff. But I try to streamline it as much as possible. What are you working on exactly? I normally painting RTT. Just go back for my niece's concert. Nice, dude. Dude. Oh, okay, perfect. You're actually exactly the person I want to talk to. So I just picked up 10 more Assault Terminators, and I'm going back to. We were literally talking about this a few weeks ago. So I'm going back to the 10 Terminators, or sorry, 20 Assault Terminators. Actually, since you're here, I'll just go over it. So this is the list that I cooked up the other night. So this is my plan to test all next week. So of course, Canic Bar, Captain and Terminator armor, and I'll explain the strategy in a second. So he has Steel Font, and then the Combi Lieutenant with the Iron Laurel, of course. I'm not running intercessors, and I'll explain that in a second. So of course, dude, JPI, like, that's just a staple unit. Infiltrators, I know everyone runs incursors, but like in my local meta, the infiltrators just work so much better. Like, they have saved me more often than not, so like they're staying in the list. Triple Redemptor, scouts, 20 assault terminators, and then the assassin. Again, I know a lot of Space Marine players don't run the assassin right now, but like, so she does a couple of things for me. She is another action unit. She's great for like if someone attacks me with chaff, I can heroic her in. She has fight first, so she's awesome. The Vect aura really helps control the fight phase. But so this is what I'm thinking in terms of like strategy. So again, deploy everything on the table. But I think so. Kanikvar, he's going to go up front. His job is to go to the early objective or the natural expansion. Typically putting scout on him and those 10 terminators. This terminator squad with the captain, he'll start on the objective and then use the free strat or the -1 to sticky it. And then I think I would leave a redemptor on there for a little bit, and then those terminators go up in the air. So basically I'll have 10 terminators on my natural with Kanikvar. I'll have my other chaff like the JPIs ready to go to the center or whatever, and then I'll have the other 10 terminators with the captain up in strat reserves for round 2. So that's generally the strategy, and it's not going to be any different from CP expenditure than I already was spending. So my normal play for my like main list that I've been working on is those terminators almost always come off the board and go into strat reserves, and then my redemptors and ballistas are just shooting all the screens, and then those guys go in. So that's kind of the strategy right now. Locally, infiltrators are yeah 100%. Yeah, I'm learning. I get that. Only been in the hobby 2 years. I worry too much painting parts you end up never seeing. I tell you what, Andrew, dude, I am down for it. I don't have I have some rhinos over there. So like with my rhinos, if you look into the top, like I painted all the screens and shit. So like I totally get that. I will say this, I think over time, and it's like an experience thing, like you'll just figure out what you're like how to get more efficient. But honestly, nowadays, if I want to paint kind of like random sexy stuff for like little details, I will actually use this. I'll thin it down with some sort of medium thinner, and then I'll just use contrast, man, and it still looks really good. If you want to make it look like sexier, then you can just like dab some, do some white dots or whatever, but you can do that on screens, or I don't have any of them here, but an example would be like on my Chaos Space Marine Terminators, I did paint, these guys still have the same, but like you see these two little dots back here on all the Terminators, I will paint those like bright green just to have like a little bit of like contrast, like color. So I don't know, man, I'd start messing around with that. I like that definitely more than the Inceptors. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, the Inceptors are such an interesting unit because it's like, how do I explain it? So I always equate things to at like if my in terms of me and my opponent. If they are at my level and below, and at my level and above, there's just certain plays and units that I can get away with. The assassin is a great example. So like against Derek, because I mean we ran Chaos Space Marines forever. Cypher was in every single list. So whenever we would practice like the mirror match, it's like who can kill Cypher first. But if I'm against someone who's at my level and above, honestly, the assassin doesn't come into play, more or less, because the opponent is going to know, okay, he's got a Vect aura, which means I'm going to save my CP. I'm not going to spend it on dumb shit, and I'll have like a plethora of it. Also, people at or like below me, not below me, but like more like inexperienced, they just never spend CP. So like they'll have like 6 CP by like turn 3. Again, the vector doesn't really matter. It's gonna be at that, like at my level and maybe just above like my peer group and just above, where like the assassin in terms of the vector really shines. So if I come across someone who's at my level and above, then the assassin will just turn into like an action piece, a screening piece, and I'll use her very differently. Same with uh, the inceptors, right? If someone knows how to screen out inceptors, then they're not really getting their value. I think there's a lot of times where you'll get baited to put those inceptors like in a shitty spot in the back, which is just not good, right? It is funny watching your opponent stress about the 6-inch deep strike in the rear, but I would never put them in the rear. The conditions for me to put them in a compromised position is going to be, am I killing a critical unit and am I denying their primary? If I'm not meeting like those two criteria, then I'll deploy them back and try to get like 2 to 3 activations out of them. So I definitely feel you about the inceptors. Where did Derek and I first meet? We met at an RTT here locally. He was just getting back into 40K, and at the time I lived. Well, the store we were going to was about an hour away, and nobody from my like LGS wanted to go play tournaments at the time. Nowadays, like 2 of the guys will go to tournaments, so like I'll meet up with them at Nova and stuff like that. But I was always like pretty competitive and whatever like game or sport that I played, so I like just started going to RTTs on my own. I think LVO was like my 5th or 6th tournament. It was my first GT, and I saw it online and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going. And dude, had an amazing time, met awesome people that I still will see every single year, and we'll hang out or whatever. But yeah, so I just met Derek on a random at a random RTT, and then yeah, we just like immediately clicked and then started hanging out. And then yeah, I went to his house like every Sunday for like a year, and basically during 9th edition, and we just got pretty close. Yeah, sometimes my Calidus wasn't doing much. Yeah, and that just happens sometimes. A lot of people locally get used to the system. Yeah, exactly. I feel like, yeah, and that's the interesting thing too. It's like you don't necessarily need to know what everything does in the game. You just need to know, like, asking the right questions and then knowing like what are capabilities of things. So it's like, yeah, that's a great example. If you can play against Death Guard, then you understand how to deal with like the 6-inch deep strikes, which also helps for like Gray Knights, and then of course like Inceptors. I'm torn between starting Dark Angels or just converting everything I want. General CSM, complimentary sound, my first Army 1,000 Suns. Any thoughts? Okay, so I'm actually working on a intro to Space Marines, and in my opinion, what I chose to do was go with like a successor chapter color scheme, but mainly I picked that color scheme for 2 reasons. One, it's fast to paint and still looks pretty good, but 2, the the colors match like all the main factions. So my current idea is like I will paint all of my guys essentially, you know, silver, blue, gold trim, and then I don't have an example right. Oh, here we go. Yeah, and then the red racing stripe on top of the head, and and that's it. So it looks good. So I'll paint like all the ultramarine guys, like their normal colors, the blood angel guys, their normal colors. Another idea I had was paint. If you're familiar with like the Primaris like story, like basically before they got assigned their like chapters, they were like kind of industrial looking. So I was gonna paint everyone like gray, with what's it called? Like hazard stripes, you know, kind of just like from the factory Primaris. But I thought that was like a little too boring. So that's why I ended up with Iron Ravens. But the point I'm making is like, in my opinion, I would paint all the special Dark Angels characters like their normal colors if you want to be like super like lore heavy. Like of course like the Inner Circle companions, like the lion looks super dope, stuff like that. But then just paint the stuff that can be in any detachment, like something that just works for everything. Because I like that they did that with 10th edition, where they didn't color lock like the play style. So I thought that was good. So that'd be my opinion. Now, if you're like heavy into like lore and like you want a fully custom army, I think I know what you're saying. Basically, paint all of your CSM like um like the Fallen, which I think that's pretty sick. I really like the four dreads and repulsor. Yeah, dude, I get it with the repulsor. It's just, dude, it fucking, if you're running Terminators, I think the repulsor is just too fucking expensive. Majors, you just Star Command. I'm just a psycho painter when it comes to that stuff. You did crush that army pretty fast. Iron Hands are sick. Always wanted to try a Dreadnought themed army, especially when Blood Angels had Librarian Dread. Dude, I tell you what, that Librarian Dread in ninth edition was a pain in the ass. Which I thought interestingly, they gave the capability to World Eaters, like because they fucking need it. But basically, the dread that just keeps fighting, and it was my first time going into them again at an RTT. So RTTs in practice is where you like you want to go into wild stuff, because then when you go to the big tournaments, like you don't want to be surprised. Anyway, I was playing Zach Hiltz, again, like another, like he's like one of the top Blood Angels players. So if you follow like the tournament scene or BCP, look for Zach. His lists are always really fucking ingenuitive. They're they're definitely off meta. But anyway, he was running that unkillable, not unkillable. It was the dread that keeps fighting after you after it gets fought, right? So, and I think it also had like a +1 to the charge into vehicles at a deep strike. So like if screened out your vehicles and you had your screen within pile in and consolidate range, then that guy is just like running a train from your front line and like sometimes all the way into your deployment zone. And so that was interesting. And then I was getting ready for Nova last year, and I went to this like fucking Shark Tank of a GT. It was run by Away Games. It was in like Southern Virginia. Mark Hurdle ended up winning. But dude, every player there, like every game was fucking hard, and every player was really good. It was definitely one of the harder GTs I've ever been to. But anyway, round 5, I go into a dude playing World Eaters, and he had 2 of those uh, World Eaters Hell Brutes that just keep fighting. And he's like, "Do you know what these do?" I was like, "Yes, and you are not running a train from my front line into my fucking home field." I missed the Leviathan. Dude, so hold on a second. Let me show you some shit. This shit working? Okay, yeah, dude. So I didn't sell these. I hope they come back. So these decimators with the soul burner petards, these are magnetized. Dude, these guys carried me through ninth edition. They just sit on my bookshelf right now. I really want them to come back. And then, dude, I still got my Contemptor Dreads from ninth edition. Fucking sick. They just sit on my bookshelf. I couldn't, I just couldn't sell them. And then, dude, this guy again carried me through ninth edition. Um, Fucking love this dude. Couldn't sell him, but hopefully they get unlegend. I was actually, especially the Leviathans and the Contemptors. I was surprised they legend them because they came out with um, plastic kits for them. So like, why would they get rid of them for Chaos Space Marines? Um, that was also the frustrating part about playing Chaos Space Marines. Like, I think they're getting a lot of good shit right now, but like, dude, it just felt like ninth edition and 10th edition, they just like didn't get nearly as good shit as like everybody else. And like obliterators going from units of 4 to units of 2 only, like that sucked. Because I think when the edition first came out, I ran, man, I think it was Nova, yeah, Nova, when the edition first came out, I had Abaddon 10. This list is crazy. Abaddon 10 Terminators, triple Forge Fiend, and then 4 Obliterators, 2 Obliterators, and then some Bikes and Cultists. Like that shit was fucking fun to play. Thanks, man. Yeah, I just couldn't sell them. I haven't got the new Defilers. Like I said, I haven't got any of the new Chaos Space Marine stuff, but dude, the Defilers are fucking really good. Yeah, I was running 4-man and 2-man Oblits. Yeah. I have the Metal Obliterators from 2002. Dang, dude. Right. Nate, did you finish your Defiler? I saw you did that, which it looks sick, by the way. Uh, you used that Horus Heresy, like turret thing, threw some legs on it. It looks good, dude. Have you got any games in with the Defilers yet? Yeah, dude, I saw that on the channel. They look good, man. I but weren't the Saturnine or however you say it, like weren't they like a giant pain in the dick to build? I did the arcane one. Right. Yeah, they were fucking awful. I was like super bored this one day painting, and I was watching this video about this guy talking about just how, yes, like the models are getting fucking really awesome in terms of like detail, but like the hobby time is like drastically increasing. And he was using the Saturnine Terminators as an example, and I was just like, dude, fucking that is too many parts to build fucking one guy. Tweezers. Dude, I don't know why, but I think these like little mini shields are fucking cool. The ones that go in the shoulder pauldrons. Damn, these Johns. I bought a whole bunch of Slaanesh demons, assembled them from eBay just to save on hobby time, and still need to paint them too. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'll look for. I was actually looking for assault terminators at my local store. Couldn't find any. I think I definitely would have bought them. I wouldn't be doing this right now. I'll tell you that. The Saturnine look amazing. Fuck me, took forever. 4 house of time chilling. Yeah, I feel you there. Um, have you guys read the Drop Site Massacre book? I was actually a little. I wasn't. I just like wasn't about it. Um, I do want to read. Aren't they coming out with a an Iron Cage book about how Iron Warriors like almost destroyed Imperial Fists, and then the Ultramarines had to come down, and Gulliman had to be like, what's that dude's name? Who's the Primarch for Imperial Fist? Dorn. Didn't he have to like come down and be like, Dorn, you need to like chill the fuck out? It's on my list in the middle of Hell's Reach. Dude, someone made like a YouTube like I don't even know if I would call it a cartoon, but they used the audiobook and they made it like almost like picture drawings, and the dude 40K is just so fucking awesome. So it starts off kind of like really shitty like drawings, and then by the end of it, like it just looks incredible. That artist was fucking awesome. But yeah, Hell's Reach was good. Yeah, dude. It's fucking dude, people are just amazing, man. Whoever the guy was that came up with that. Yeah, it's sick. And if you got it on audiobook, I'm pretty sure he used uh it's the same I think it's just like ripped from the audiobook. I've listened to the Fabius Bio books, The Lord of Silence, Infinite and the Divine. I haven't done any of the Necron books. Dude, the Bio books were fucking cool too, man. He's such a cool fucking character. Let me ask you this: do you think the current version is a clone, or do you think it's the original Bio? Yes, but dude, I like how the writers created, characters who kind of like spit in the face of the Chaos Gods. I don't think Abaddon is a slave to the gods. And I like how Bile is not all about like the Chaos Gods either. I'm actually really curious to see how they flesh out like Perturabo's story. Um because like, dude, if you read the Siege of Terror books, like it it was just it was just awesome. Like the Iron Warriors are just doing their things. Of course, like Perturabo has like beef with, you know, Dorn and the Emperor, and he's just like, dude, I'm gonna crack the gates. And then, he does it, but he's just like I think he's like calling over the radio, like trying to like get the world leaders and emperor's children to like check in, and they're just like losing their shit, just like raping and pillaging. And then he's just like, dude, we're fucking done with this, and then they just leave, which I thought was cool. But he cracked the walls, so he did his job. One of my favorite characters of the books is the Corn Apothecary. I didn't so which book was it? I did read the did I read the Angron books? I think I may have just listened to that stuff on audiobook, but I think Karn's story is fucking cool. And like his interactions with Angron is cool, but like I don't know, man. I think Angron's kind of just like a fucking punk. Like he's gotten his ass beat so many times. Like didn't Perturabo just like beat the fuck out of Angron at one point? Kingmaker is another group, by the way. If I read it, really, the Infinite and the Divine, but it's a whole different kind of vibe. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that dude with Bile. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. personally gotten into the books. My job is much of the time while working. Yeah, dude, I tell you what, if you got time to crush some books, check out Undying Mercenaries. Uh I think book 24 comes out in May. But dude, I went through so book 23 came out, I think I want to say like 2 months ago. But dude, last April to December, no, last June to December, I crushed through these 23 fucking books. The story is amazing. The characters are fucking awesome. And essentially it's so in the near future, probably like the next 100 years, like aliens do come to Earth and they inform like Earth uh that they're part of they're like a backwater kind of shithole planet, and like they're part of this like giant galactic empire, and they were like you're either gonna join the empire or we're just gonna like kill everybody. So Earth was like, okay, cool, like I guess we're part of the galactics now. And then but every planet that's like under these galactics, they have to pay like a tithe, like to their overlords, basically. And because Earth wasn't that technologically advanced, they supplied mercenaries to help fight like these wars. And so it's like very heavy Roman themed. So they recreate like essentially like the Roman legions, and then they go out and fight in space. Well, once humanity starts doing that, they gain access to like galactic currency and like galactic technology, and then they get these machines called revival machines. And basically like they don't have like phones, they have these things called tappers, which is like a phone that's like surgically implanted like into your forearm, and it's constantly connected to um like the cloud, basically, and it's constantly uploading your memories. So when you die, the revival machines just like print out like a new clone body, and then they just upload your memories from your tapper, uh and then it's as if you never died. And every book is like a different deployment on a different planet. And it definitely meant, it definitely resonated a lot with me because I, traveled a lot. I deployed a bunch of times. So just like the kind of from that aspect of like going away, coming back home. And then the main character, James McGill, um, the author, B.V. Larson, he does like a really good job of like James like maturing over the years. So in the book, he still looks like he's 23, but he's actually like 45. Um, just because he's died so many times and then, gets revived. But it's cool like seeing his character mature over the years. And yeah, the stories are just incredible. Yeah, Undying Mercenaries. It's fucking awesome. I'll tell you this, I'm not taking anything away. So at one point, these giant AI, like that are like it's like the size of the moon. These giant AI robots, and they're like basically floating moons, like come to Earth, and of course Earth is like shoot now, ask questions later. But they like shoot nukes at it and all their missiles and all their stuff, and like nothing does anything. And by this point in the book, they have like teleport technology. And so James and his company of legionnaires, um, the the mission is to teleport like into the giant floating moon. And I think at one point they were like shooting missiles or something at it, and then there was like a giant mouth that opened up, and then they were like, "Oh, we can get inside," but they don't know what's inside. So the mission is to teleport into the mouth, and like some of them make it, but a whole bunch of them don't, and they like teleport like and then just like slam into the slam into the like the ceramite or like the rock hard coating of the like armor of the floating like AI moon. Um it's so fucking funny. But then like they just get revived and then like the characters come back. It's also like interesting. So the only way you can truly die, and they call it getting permed, right? Permanently killed, is if you die, but your memories weren't stored on the cloud. And there's like strict rules with this technology. So like you're not allowed to have like multiple copies of yourself. There's like really strict like galactic law, and so like if the Earth Legion like military can't confirm that you're dead, then you're not allowed to be revived. So of course, like the characters find themselves like having to fight in tunnel systems and like deep underground, and it's like while they're on the surface and they have like their tappers connected to the cloud, they will do like pretty like us playing a video game, right? You're just like we'll just see if we can like deal with this fight right now, like playing Halo or something, and then you do some dumbass shit and you just die like a million times, and then you're like, all right, we need to take this a little bit more seriously. Well, it's like the same thing in the book where they go into these situations where now their tappers aren't connected, and they're like, all right, we got to be a little bit more tactical about how we're going to deal with this situation. So it's and like there's a lot of times where like a unit might need to get like extracted from a mission, and it just would take too much time to send down like a dropship to go get them. So then like they'll just drop a nuke on them, just kill everybody, and then just revive them out of the machines because it only takes like 30 minutes to like print out like a clone body and then upload your memories into the new clone. But yeah, it's good, man. If you like 40K, you will definitely dig Undying Mercenaries. I'm getting tired, but the goal is I need to finish these five guys tonight. So I'm just gonna keep going until I'm done. I like the concept. I'm looking forward to it. Well, it's fun. I wish you longer, but RTT requires. Yeah, dude, for sure, man. Get some sleep, man. Good luck tomorrow, dude. Look forward to seeing how you do on Discord. What other armies do you have besides CSM Space Marines? I have Custodes. I have. I have like all the demons I need for Shadow Legion. Um, so like a bunch of the chaff, of course the big demons, and then well I just lied. Only Bellacore and the Fade Thirster or the Bloodthirster. And then I bought the chicken because I had a feeling it was going to be good, and then it ended up being good, but I never got around to building it, and then I shifted off of Shadow Legion, and then I have the whole Knight Army. I went with a War Dog build, and then I have one Despoiler, but I just haven't painted them. I'm thinking about just selling all the models I have and starting over. Dude, I mean, I get it, dude. Like I said, I sold a bunch of shit cuz like I updated my painting scheme and I just didn't like that like half of my Black Legion army looked like had like one style of gold and the other half had another style. So yeah, I feel you, man. I just sold them all and started over. So hopefully some young kid got a pretty sweet looking Black Legion army. I don't have any complete armies. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think it's a silly idea if you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna sell all this shit, buy one faction that you really want to focus on, and then like, like I said, plan your color scheme, and then kind of start from scratch and like finish one. I tell you what, I am like my Black Legion army that I have right now, I'm fucking never selling them. My kids will get them when I fucking die. I guess the grandkids by that point. My only complete arms can I said 32 painted and based. Damn, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think you finish one and then move on to something else. Have the collection. Um, I think it was Happy Crumpin. If you guys don't watch Happy Crumpin, definitely check him out. He's fucking awesome. But he was talking about like what army should you take to a tournament. And of course, like once you get to a point where you have enough armies, then you can choose like what you think the best army is based off of the mission, which would be nice to have, versus only having one army. But if you have the entire collection, then you can pivot. So like when knights were a fucking menace, what like 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. Um, it was around Nova. Shit, that was last year. Okay, whatever. A year ago. Um, dude, so that's why I shifted at the time I was playing Cat Space Marines. That's why I shifted back to Abaddon, Hellbrute, Double Vindicator, and I think I only ended up running one Forge Fiend, but I think at Nova I had two Forge Fiends, and I was praying to get a fucking Knight player, and I got him round one, and this is a funny story. So I actually he put a Knight out in the open turn one, and I whiffed on my Vindicators, which actually worked out in my favor because he definitely became a little. He was like, oh, like this dude's fucking Vindicators aren't that good, and then he moved out like two bigs and I think one or two small knights turn two, and dude, all the buffs went off. So, hitting on threes, full rerolls, critting on fives and sixes, lethal and sustain. Dude, I fucking killed two big knights in a turn two, and I think my possess nuked at least one war dog, and he was not a happy camper. But the point I'm making is like having the full collection allows you to pivot to what's going on, not just like in the meta, but then like when you look at the mission packs before the tournament, like, okay, like the mission is asking me to do X, Y, or Z. I have the full collection. I'm gonna build my list based off of the mission pack. Do you play War Dog Spam mixed or big? I played War Dog Spam. I love my big stompy boys. I don't really play the good list. I haven't played since me intense, sadly. After the toughness changes, I mean, look, man, they're still like I think they're still good. Um, but I think like with everything else, you have to um you have to like really, really know every detachment um and like what their capabilities are. I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying in general. So like for an example, I ran Veterans of the Long War for a long time. Dabbled in Bile, went to Shadow Legion, but obviously the whole beginning of the edition essentially was pack-bound zealots. But then, you know, I played Renegade Raiders for a little bit, and then so when I went to that Nova prep last year, which is super tough GT, I was running Raiders, right? And everyone in the CSM Discord on, you know, for Dirtbags, like there was like 5 or 6 of us all playing Raiders, and we were all playing like versions of the same list. So that was really cool because then it's like all 5 of us would be playing a test game like every week, and now you're getting 5 different perspectives off of the list. So it was like really, really awesome, like data points. But I went to this GT prep and we were playing, I think it was like layout 2 and 6 at Nova. And I was like, dude, you're like in the fucking open. It was just not good. So I rebuilt my list and went back to pack-bound zealots because the bikes have the 18-inch loan op. Um, and also I knew the LVO mission pack, which was fucking hammer and anvil all day one, which was fucking not fun. But the 18-inch loan op with the bikes, the Nurgle bikes, dude, that was getting my turn 2 primary every single game. But having them look nice, just be yeah, for sure, dude. Plus all the GW. Sorry, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you know, I think that's like a vastly underestimated, like cool part of the hobby where it's like, I think a lot of players put too much emphasis with success and failure off of winning and losing versus like, did I have a fucking awesome time, like, or not? And then it's like, I want to play like what looks cool. I want to play what I'm proud of, like building and, you know, and stuff like that. So I totally understand that perspective. What night scheme did you go with? Yeah, the Chaos Knights do look sick. I actually, so I couldn't find enough Chaos War Dogs. So, but there were plenty of like Arbingers. So what I ended up doing was buying like a mix of both and then just like combining both of the kits. Which I liked how they came out. But yeah, they're basically every single one of my War Dogs is a kit bash. That book is Black Library. Jason, which book you talking about? Oh, if you're just listening to if we're to Undying Mercenaries, no, that's it's not 40K. It's just another awesome long book series. Great author, great narrator. If you're into the Audible, just a really good, cool sci-fi story, and like super relatable. I have them all painted a little different, not just one color scheme. Yeah, that's cool, dude. I met this chick at the game store the other day, and I think yeah, I was playing Roger. He was playing the double storm surges, which was just a funny list. But anyway, she plays. She just got into like playing, but she was had been painting for a couple years, and that's another cool thing I like about going to the game stores and stuff, and just meeting people who like love different aspects of the hobby. But dude, her nights, she hand painted like not flaming skulls, but kind of like smoke, like in like red and blacks and grays, like skulls, like all over this one night. It looked fucking incredible. But yeah, every single one of her chaos nights were totally custom. I think that's super cool when that happens, when people do that. I like all the Titanic units. Nice, dude. Hey man, I tell you what the, that's another cool thing. So I talk about this a lot in the Discord, and I talked about it in our book as well. When like if you're not in the top 16, right? Or even have, I guess, realistically, the top 50. Their meta is vastly different than like the mid tables, and then from the mid tables, that meta is vastly different from like the low tables. And I'm a mid table player. Like I'm 3-2, 4-2 player, but like depending on what is at the top, like for an example, like when Death Guard was at the top and Knights, right? So those are examples of armies that you will see at the top tables, mid tables, and the low tables. So you have to definitely be like prepared for them. Like if Gene Stealer cults like at the top tables, then not many people play Gene Stealers. So out of like a 100+ person like tournament, like the odds of you running into them aren't likely. So you don't necessarily need to prepare for them, but I would definitely get exposure to them because coincidentally, getting ready for Nova, two of my buddies were playing Gene Stealer Cult in teams, and they just so happened to be the two guys that I could get the most practice games in with. So I got smashed in the face with Gene Stealers for like 2 weeks before Nova. And then by the time I went to Nova, I did get a Gene Stealer player day 2, and then knew the strategy, knew how to deal with it. But anyway, I think Necrons is another example of like potentially top tables, mid tables, like low tables. But the point I'm making is like if you're like a mid table player, which again that is the majority, then you're going to come across like everything. So, and when I play singles, I always build generalist lists because I don't mind losing to another player, like because he just like outplayed me. I'm totally fine with that. What I don't like is when I roll up to an opponent and I don't have the tools, at least some tools for what his army has. So I'm always going to have a little bit of shooting. I like to play like combined arms, like style generalist lists. So it's, a little bit of shooting and then the infantry goes in and like finishes it off. Probably because, 20 years in the Marine Corps, and that's basically kind of like what we did. Um, so like I remember at LSO 2 years ago, Derek came across a Warhound Titan. He's just like, he runs over to my table and he's like, I have never fucking seen one of these things. I can't believe it's fucking here. Like, what do I even do? But he was playing Chaos Cult at the time. I think yeah, I'm pretty sure he won LSO that year. So if you can still play the core rules and know the game, then you're all good. 10 years ago, I had two of the Tau Tiger Sharks Titanics flyer recast. Dude, at where was it? I think it was LVO. but there was a giant diorama of the that tiger shark, and it was like crashed into like a lake, and there was like marine life growing out of it, and then they had like gene stealers in the sewage tunnels. um Dude, it was just, it was fucking awesome. If you guys don't know what this is, it's just these like cork things from Hobby Lobby, and that's what I use. I use the thin ones for regular guys, and then I use the thicker ones for like special characters. I think just putting the cork on there just makes basing cooler, but that's just me. Squidmart, yeah, 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 that was it. All the Forge World sculpts are so badass. Yeah, dude. So this this decimator was Forge World. Uh, Dude, I tell you what, you definitely had to read the directions on how to uh like you gotta clean the fucking shitty ass resin. I cleaned them with dish soap, and then had to like remold some of them. That shit was annoying. There's not been an army I enjoy more than Orc since I started playing. Dude, rock on, dude. Um, Dude, I hope you're watching like the different things that Derek has been doing with orcs. I was telling him the other day during our practice game, like I definitely think him playing Chaos Cult like took him and his play style and his understanding of the game to like another level. But dude, him playing orcs, like I'm currently working on a battle report for it, but like if you watch him play on stream, like dude, him playing orcs has just taken his game style just to a completely ridiculous understanding of how 10th edition works. It's just cool watching. Oh, dude, did you see the new orc character guy? The guy who can go through models and enemy models and terrain. He's got a sick fucking flamer. Derek one-shotted five intercessors. Just nuked them off my home field. But dude, that character is fucking good, man. So get your hands on that guy. Like he's, it's just so good. The Wazdaka dude, definitely a cool addition. Like he's like a better version of uh uh Lord Discordant for CSM for sure, which I think Orcs needed. So I think it's cool when a faction gets something that they desperately like needed. Like I was totally cool with World Eaters getting the whatever infiltrate unit, and then same with who are those, the dwarf guys. Total brain fart right now. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. We'll get him in hand. Probably was. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Nice, man. Yeah, throw it in the Discord when we get him finish painting him. I definitely want to see it. Yeah, so Derek was on. He's on Speed Freaks right now, and I mean, dude, just advance and charge all the time, fallback, shoot and charge all the time. Like it was just fucking, it was wild. I'm sitting here trying to decide when I play for RTT tomorrow. Should I try Speed Freaks? I've been enjoying Freebooters too much. Actually, here while we're here, and if you have the models, I'll tell you what Derek, dude, he beat my ass fucking the other day. It was so bad. Um, but it was a cool list, dude. I honestly think that was his most flexible version of his orcs that he's been running. And let me pull this up for you. Yeah, it's right here. So he was, yeah, Cult of Speed. So Boss Snickrot, Def Killa Wartrike, Def Killa Wartrikes, a Weird Boy, and then Zodrog Wartsnaga. God, he's only 90 points. Dude, he's so fucking good. And then 10 boys. Those so this was a change for him. So he had six Def Coptas, six Def Coptas, yeah, 6, 12, 18, then 20 Gretchen, 10 Gretchen, Snook Jump Dragsta, two of those, War Bikes, and then so this is something else that he added new. So he has 3x6 war bikes. The characters go with two of them, and then 2x3, no, 3x3 war bikes. Just to do like tons of actions. Just like really annoying early melee unit, move blocking, and then he had the Waz Bomb Blasted Jet, and it was, yeah, like I said, it was sick. Let me see if I can get a picture. If you look at the shorts from earlier this week, you'll see his. Let me see how this looks on the camera. It's hard to see, but yeah, I'm making a battle report right now. It won't be useful for you for tomorrow, but yeah, it was dude, it was brutal. I've been thinking about running the chariot mounted spam unit with my Slaanesh demons. They just don't have advance and charge. Um, I'm trying to remember Slaanesh demons. Honestly, the last time I ran into Slaanesh demons, it was, what was it, over a year? Was it last year when demons were just like out of fucking control? I played them twice at this GT, and I was just like, what the fuck, man? Um, actually, if you follow, I would look for Justin Serrano on BCP. He's also in our Discord. I would just ask, like, yo, is Justin Serrano in here? He's like one of the top demon players, and just like pick his brain. He is fucking out of control with demons. The chariot's good. Um, that's the one with like the giant. It looks like a giant like flesh mower in the front. Seekers, squad of 10. Yeah, yeah, they killed that. I thought that was like a little overkill. It's like, dude, why did they they come out with something totally fucking busted, and then they just like nuke it in the ground. It does suck when that happens, but dude, I loved running Seekers in CSM. I was sad when you had to pay the tax for them, but dude, such a good fucking unit. It was fun to run them again in Shadow Legion. Keepers and Shalaxi lost feel no pain. Yeah, but I mean like I would just pick Justin's brain, dude. Um let me look up his name on Discord for you because it's not Justin. It is, I think it's Show Nuff. Messages. Yeah, Shonuff the Master. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, that's him right there. Justin Serrano. You can find him on BCP. Um, Incredible player. But yeah, he's like if I have any questions about demons, he's the first guy I go to. Keepers are only strike down your toughest 10. They should get at least hit harder than Guo. Dude, the fucking Guo, man. What was it, Nova last year? Which by the way, if you guys are going to Nova, I just got my hotel. So a bunch of us will be there. So come find us, say what's up. We'll grab a drink. But I was playing. I forget what demon's detachment, but it's basically a bunch of the big dudes. He had two Guos. It was it's like I think it's the index one, but anyway, turn fucking one. Yeah, turn end of turn one because I went first. I had a Guo and then Rodigus in my fucking home field. And I was just like, well, I guess here we go. Now, the fun part was that was kind of redemption match because I played him. I think his name was Nick. He's from the Washington D.C. area. Super awesome dude. Predominantly demons player, but he beat me the year prior, and then because like again we're both like mid-table players, so we usually play or at least see like the same guys that I play against, like GT from GT, and so I get a redemption match against him, but this time I had Abaddon, Hellbrute, double vindicator, and I didn't put anything in strat reserve. So turn two, fucking Abaddon killed the Guo. And then I think I took the Rodigus. I think I took him down to like one, dude. Yeah, demonic incursion. Yeah. I took him down to one. And when I was finished essentially he forced me to have my go turn to like fight my way out. Uh and killing both of those guys essentially. He was like, fuck, dude, I think like the game's over. But yeah, he definitely tried pressuring me early, but again, like I said before, like I was just glad that I had the tools to fight my way out of that. I'll be right back. What armies do you think? What armies do you think most people own? Like top five? I mean, Space Marines. Um, well, I don't know. It's kind of a weird question. So like, because I'm thinking about all my friends now who have multiple armies. So like Brian Zoo, for an example, he's got Space Marines, Tau, Sisters, Custodes. Um, I think that's it. And then Derek has Grey Knights, Custodes, Chaos Space Marines, Death Guard, Shadow Legion, so like some demon stuff, and then orcs. And then like when I think about Jack's got like got everything. He's got knights, he's got Eldar, he's got guard. Um, so I answered it like that because it's I don't know. I feel like I don't think most people will strategically buy different armies. Like for an example, I think Space Marines is good just because of like the flexibility and then like the collection. But then like if you were to pivot to like a hard, like drastically different play style, then you're going for like Eldar or like Drakari. And then I think you'd also be looking for some sort of like melee heavy like horde army, so like something like orcs or maybe like world eaters. If I think about my friend Nolan, I mean dude, uh Nolan will buy he will buy and sell armies. It's like every like 2 or 3 months. Pretty sure it's Space Marines, Custodes, Knights, Tau, CSM. You think so? I feel like CSM isn't that popular. Um, I feel like Tau's popular. Knights, I don't know. I guess people have them. Um, but even when Knights were like the menace, and I didn't feel like many people were playing Knights. I definitely did feel like a lot of people were playing Death Guard when they were just fucking out of control. If you were around for the beginning of 10th edition when Eldar were just insanely oppressive and it was they didn't fix the Titanic keyword, like it was just fucking stupid. But it was like a bunch of people coming out of the woodwork with Eldar. Do you think the Chaos Knights will get a medium model like the Imperials got recently? I don't know, man. I feel like that new Imperial Knight model was like in response to that newer uh Chaos Knight model that came out. But I don't know. I was listening to Tactical Tortoise the other day, and I think didn't a Chaos Knight player win a GT playing the one detachment where you can have like the like tons of cultists and stuff? I don't know. I'm not sure, man. To be honest, like I don't understand how GW pushes their stuff. Like so when people are like, "Oh, they just push stuff for people to play the models and whatever." I don't necessarily think that cuz sometimes I it feels like so random. I started with Chaos Knights because the army is cheap, like 750 bucks. Yeah, I mean that's fair. When I was building out my like intro to Space Marines, even before you buy like super like special characters or like faction or sorry like chapter specific special characters, you're still dropping like $1,000. Uh, yeah, man. I think that detachment's cool. I think the list had like squads of. Can you have 30 cultists? I don't remember. I know you can have 20, but he had a fuckload of cultists. Which, again, I mean, if you watched Derek's games last year, like cultists are just if you're just flooding the board, like it's good. All right, these are dry. Shit. You can give lethal knights tyrants with a workshop harpoon gun do insane damage. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, like I think it's cool detachment. Dude did well with it. I don't. I think can you have accursed cultists in there? I don't remember. You'd have to look at it, but I only have one ACDC unit. I just couldn't. I couldn't get on board, even when Derek was just fucking crushing it with ACDC, and like obviously he did the best with Chaos Cult, but I mean, him running two squads of uh occurs cultists in like any detachment was just I mean, dude, he's just a fucking monster with that shit. Yeah. Yeah, I ran one. Dude, I loved playing them in Shadow Legion with the Scout 9. That was fun. Have you guys been checking out the 11th edition stuff? Derek and I did a stream last Monday. Basically, we used like a ninth edition mission, or sorry, 10th edition mission and secondaries, but we used every 11th edition rule that we could find. Um, I'm working on a battle report for that too. But dude, I think 11th edition is going to be good. I think it definitely cleans up a lot of stuff. It's nice that the data sheets are going to remain the same. I think that's a really good idea. But dude, one of the cr- craziest things that I immediately saw that was different was like I guess the new coherency rules is the entire unit must be within 9 inches. So um like screening will be different. How you we call it like vectoring in your guys. So like if this is a squad that I'm attacking, like these guys here, and my unit's over here, then like the vector is going to be like the angle of attack that I go in. So like a slingshot for an example, if this is the closest unit and I want to attack a unit like let's just say over here, I might move my guys like angle it like this, get the closer charge off, and then when I uh, charge, I'm essentially trying to do this and then pile in. So you're not going to be able to do that stuff as easily in 11th, but I'll be honest, it's a pain in the ass when Derek does that shit with his fucking grot unit with that one character. Dude, I hate it too because it's so hard to stop. Although I was happy that my assault terminators were able to one shot that unit. So that was good. Good test. The new terrain layouts, you're gonna be a parking lot. Seems like a dead space in the deployment zone as well. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. It seems like that way in the front, but at least in the layout that we played, it feels like the direction they're trying to push you is fighting from like terrain piece to terrain piece. Um, I think the firing lanes aren't like as like obvious and overt as they were in 10th edition, but um I think getting into people's back lines is going to be really good. So like at one point in the game, uh Derek was able to get in my backfield, and trying to get the angles to shoot behind me essentially was difficult. So I think right off the bat, my gut is telling me like armies that have deep strike and like pluses to their charges are gonna be good, at least on the layouts that they've currently posted. But I'll be honest, man, like after man, how many 10th edition games have I played? I'm just ready for something different. I like honestly like it doesn't feel like the rules are changing that much, so I'm good with that, but it's like the the missions are going to change, and the deployments are going to change, and the terrain's going to change. So I'm good with that. Yeah, so I guess 10th edition I only played 339. Um Either way, ready for something different. Yeah, agreed, dude. I saw in some discords like people and also heard from like talking to other guys like people are losing their shit and I'm gonna sell my armies and I'm done with 40K. Like I think they're just being fucking, I mean, super dramatic. Which like one of the craziest polls that I saw on Auspex Tactics, and I don't watch him much anymore. I still subscribe to his Patreon, and I do support him just because I think he does do a lot like for the community. But anyway, um, he had a poll, and it was how many games of 40K do you play a month, and it was like 0 to 1, 2 to 3, and like 3 to 4, something like that. But anyway, the point I'm making is like 85%, over 80% of the people who posted, and it was around 8,000 people who responded to him, said they play like less than 2 games like a month. And then the next poll was how many like tournaments have you been to? And it was like again, same thing, like 0 to 1, 1 to 2, whatever, or have never played. And most people hadn't played like even like an RTT. And the point I'm making is like a lot of these people like crying on fucking the internet and Reddit and stuff. Like I don't think they're your. I mean, I'm not saying this as an absolute, but like it feels like most of those guys aren't like the tournament scene guys. I think the majority of the tournament scene enjoys like the meta shifting. They enjoy the different mission packs. They enjoy the new detachments. They enjoy like stuff changing. Because there are a couple times where like I'll have to leave for work for like a month, and I'll come back and like the meta is just like completely upside down. But I think that shit's cool. Like it'd be fucking boring, and I don't understand. So I only came into 40K at the beginning of ninth edition, right? So I don't know about the game before this at all. But from what I've heard and how I understand like terrain and stuff like that, like dude, it sounds like the earlier editions. I don't think I would have been into it, to be honest. Um, I can't even imagine playing with like almost no terrain or no secondaries. Uh, I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I think it's an exciting time right now for 40K. I've not played a 40 games since fourth edition. Dang, dude. Hey, I tell you what, man, you should check out TTS, Tabletop Simulator. It's I think it's great. And it's really good if you travel or like, guys in your situations. There, but I tell you what, also, Gabe, there was another guy I was talking to. He lives, I want to say it's like Michigan. I met him on Instagram, and he's like, "Yeah, it sucks like I don't really have a good like 40K scene like locally." And this is what I told him. I was like, "Dude, then get TTS, like we can play, like you can get on the Discord and you can always find someone who'll play TTS with you. And then just go to like the major tournaments. I made a shift last year, and it's the same shift this year. So like between work and stuff, um, I play a lot less RTTs, and but I'll go to so I think I have a GT at least once a month until the end of the year. And so one, like you get more points for grand tournaments than you do for the RTTs, but you know, like you're traveling anyway. So like Nova, ACO, LSO. LSO is my favorite grand tournament. This might be my last time doing LVO. I've gone 5 times, and last year when they changed the venue, there was definitely like some growing pains. So I made the decision after that I'll try it one more year, and if it's the same vibe from 2025, then I probably won't do LVO again for a little bit. But yeah, so that's my recommendation to you guys who live in rural areas, TTS, and go to the big tournaments. Let me ask you guys this: how is the not so much the video, but like, do you think I should like zoom in more, or is this like a good distance? Um, because you have to like, it's not as simple as just like hitting the zoom button. I have to like go in and change the settings because it's like I try to keep my hands like down here, but then if like I do something like this, like to glue, it like changes the focus, and then this camera has the ability to camera's good in focus. Okay. Um, like I have to go in and manually turn off like the autofocus settings, because if I left like when I first tried doing this, and to be honest, like I just got this camera a few weeks ago, so again, this is why I'm doing this, just to, like test all this shit out. But like the manual settings, the fucking auto zoom was like going fucking nuts. Even just going from like down here to like up here. So if you guys are saying it looks good, then that's good enough for me. It's definitely been like a huge learning curve with all this fucking uh the videoing and shit. In terms of like painting, but it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. You know what I hate about painting Space Marines? Fucking purity seals. What factions my sons play? So my middle son, he has Space Marines, obviously, Ultramarines. And then he's on Death Watch right now. And then my eldest son, he is playing Blood Angels. And then my youngest son, he is playing Necrons, which he just turned 9. And it was pretty cute. The other day, he was like, "Dad, am I old enough to play Warhammer now?" I was like, "I don't know. Are you? Like, do you have the attention span for it right now?" But yeah, he loves Necrons. All right, cool. So we got all 5 of these dudes done. Pretty sweet. All right, guys, I am gonna go to bed because I gotta work tomorrow. But yeah, no, appreciate it. Again, this was just testing, streaming, the camera setup. I got this new sweet ass microphone stand. And then yeah, just getting all that done. My first models were blood owners are like 12. I messed them up, but yeah, they look like melted cheese. Yeah. Um, there's definitely like a learning curve to like painting. Which again, like I was grateful for playing Kill Team initially because it's the small squads, so I don't have to paint many models. But I would like I'd have like a new painting goal like per model. So like one guy might be like, all right, today I want to learn how to like glaze. And then I'd like watch a bunch of videos about glazing. Or all right, I keep hearing this like dry brush thing. Like, what the fuck is that? And then, watch videos about that. And then, so I'd have like a painting goal like per model, which kind of just like built, I guess, like your skill repertoire, which is definitely a learning curve. Excited to see all LSO. Yeah, dude, super stoked for LSO. It's my fucking favorite GT. So come say what's up, come hang out, and yeah, thanks guys, appreciate it. Later.